Okay, thank you all for being here. Happy New Year to everyone, and welcome to the January meeting of the Town of Newbury's Human Resources Board. Present are
Diane Doyle.
Mark Kleckman,
John Ferrara.
Lynn Peabody.
Patty Fisher.
thank you all. Tony Antico, unfortunately has a death in the family, he won't be joining us tonight, but we have a quorum. We're ready to go. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the prior meetings. Diane, thank you as always for providing them in advance. We've got two sets of minutes to approve tonight. First is the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting, which we held on November 27th. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those minutes?
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor of accepting the minutes of the November 27th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Next order of business is to review and vote on accepting the minutes of the meeting of the Newbury HR Board Subcommittee meeting held on December 11th for the purposes of classification for new position. Is there a motion on the board to is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Everyone's had an opportunity to read through.
Yes.
See no discussion. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Again, Diane, thank you. Next order of business, employee issues. Diane, let me turn to you. Anything that we should be aware of?
I have not had anything come to my attention.
Nothing to my attention either.
Good, good. Thank you. Personnel actions and job vacancies. Diane, if you'd like to get us up to speed on where we are.
So we've had approximately 6 new call firefighters brought on board, which is exciting. I think Dave Evans, the new fire chief, is reaching out and helping to get more call fire paramedics to help with the ambulance. We have not had any further resignations since the last meeting. We do still have some open positions. The conservation agent position is still open. The newly created assistant town administrator position is still open. And I understand that the library director position they've been interviewing. I don't know where that stands at this point, but they have had several candidates apply for the new library director.
Okay.
But nothing's been announced at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, we did have one resignation of the assistant children's librarian.
Assistant.
That just happened last week, and she is actually taking a job in private industry. She was a part-time library technician in the children's department and had an opportunity to go private sector, and is closer to her house. She lives close to Boston, so she's moving down there. So that is all I have at this point.
Okay.
Question? The assistant town administrator, is that posted?
It is posted.
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, no candidates?
She's had some applications. I
Okay.
don't know where that stands,
Okay,
but I know
just curious.
I know she's had some applications.
Okay, good. I would think that that's going to be a good job. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you remember when we classified it a couple months ago, we recognized that it was kind of a unique role. And it's not shocking that there are some challenges in finding the right individuals, but I'm not sure where Tracy is in terms of numbers of candidates or quality of candidates.
I think she's had at least 3 or 4. I think the library director, the conservation agent, and the assistant town administrator position have all had applications.
Okay, good.
So I
And in the
know that
interim-
they're ongoing.
In the interim, we have somebody who's filling in for the seat that was now vacant out front here, or
No.
is that right?
Well, that's the new assistant town administrator.
Right.
She is filling in, just helping out
Right,
temporarily.
that's somebody else from the existing staff.
She actually was a fellow that came to us as an intern over the summer.
Okay.
And she works part-time in another community, and she had availability to come and help staff and help out a little bit.
Good.
She's only here, I believe, maybe 18 hours a week, mostly in the afternoons.
Okay, but at least taking some of the strain off.
Yep, she was under a fellow internship program where she came to us and spent time in each department, and Tracy reached out, so she's been helping out.
Good.
Great. Thank you. Questions or any other discussion about that?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any workplace discrimination, ethics issues that have popped up. Anything that, Diane, Chief, anything there? No?
No,
Okay. Safety issues, anything you'd like to address?
no, everything seems to be going
Good.
well.
Okay. Other business. As we discussed a month or so ago, the one remaining proposed language change that we discussed that needed to go back to town council for their review was the definition of family as it relates to nepotism. Diane, again, thank you for getting that to everybody in advance. Let me just read it for the benefit of those who may be viewing this meeting. For the purposes of nepotism, a municipal employee's immediate family member is considered the following: the employee and their spouse and their parents, children, brothers, or sisters. And as you can see from the yellow lining here, this is a narrowing of the definition of family as it relates to nepotism from what had originally existed. And this is one that we thought originally should stay broader, but we asked town council to weigh in on it, and what we got back from town council, Diane, correct me if my language is wrong here, but town council was very strong in their opinion that the definition of family for nepotism needs to comply with or to map to the definition that exists in Mass General Law 268A, is it?
Yep, and I've actually attached a copy.
Thank you for that, I'm reading it now, it's a
Yep.
good reference.
So it's exactly verbatim from 86.02 nepotism, chapter 268A, conflict of interest and nepotism.
Right.
Okay, good.
So I did have a chance to talk with her and express that we were concerned that the narrowing of the language, we thought it should continue to stay broader, and she basically said it really needs to map directly to the law, and she said any change outside of that is when you would leave yourself open to sort of any liabilities because you're not in compliance.
Compliance, right.
Yep.
Right.
So she said it should map directly to the law.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that this is nepotism, not conflict of interest. I mean, it is conflict of interest, but this as it relates to hiring, working with, and having undue influence over the hiring or firing or payment for other employees. But the conflict of interest, obviously, when you go through your conflict of interest training, is much more expansive. Your neighbor asks you to do something, so it's important to remember that this pertains to nepotism, not just the
Specific for hiring, right.
It isn't of the broader sense for conflict of interest.
Well, thank you for that explanation, because of course, when I first looked at it, I thought exactly what you're saying. Wait a minute, and but then going through, and that just makes complete sense that we map right over to mass.gov.
Right. Right. And I think it's an indicator that as it relates to law, Mass General Law, it needs to be very strict according to the definition, whereas these other changes we made are based on benefits that the town of Newbury feels are appropriate for its employee population, and it's in those areas that we have an opportunity to be a little bit more flexible or creative, if you will,
Okay.
in the definition of a family.
So I had to read this a couple of times, so it's important to read that it's a municipal employee's immediate family members considered the following: the employee and their spouse and their parents, children, brothers, or sisters. So it could, that lends itself to mean the employee's brother-in-law, sister-in-law, in-laws, but it's written in a way that we had to leave it so it mapped to Mass General Law, but I had to read it a couple of times. So it
A little vague.
The example is pretty explicit.
yeah, exactly, the example that they give under Mass General Law explains it, so.
So reading that, so the employee and his spouse and their parents. So their parents.
His or her, well, it should say his or her spouse.
Yeah, so it
And-
doesn't on this sheet. But, and their parents, children, brothers, and sisters. So for an example, an official's brother-in-law would be considered if he were the brother of the official spouse, but not if he was married to the official sister.
It would be once removed.
Okay. Okay, but just to, indulge me, I guess.
Yeah.
So the employee and his or her spouse and their parents. So then, say, me and my spouse, would it be both of our parents?
Yes,
Yes.
Children, brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, but on ours, it's the employee,
and their spouse.
okay, so the same, it's
their
there.
parents.
Okay, all right.
So I just wanted to point out that it does include in-laws and brother and sister-in-law under certain circumstances, and it took me a little while to read it a couple times before.
Okay, thank you for doing the pre-work for us.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
All right, any further discussion of that language change?
No.
No.
Thank you, Dave.
Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor to accept that new language and to put that in front of the select board tomorrow as we are going to do
I'll
the
make
rest
the
of those
motion.
changes? Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting this language and putting it in front of the select board, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, unanimous. Thank you,
So
Diane.
we had, we assumed that it would be voted tonight, so we had pre-set all of the changes to go before the select board tomorrow night.
Okay, good.
So it's been on their agenda since last Thursday, and it will go before them for recommendation for approval.
So
Of the-
is there going to be somebody to represent the conversation?
Yes.
I'll be there, and I think Diane, I know Diane works till 7 tomorrow night anyway, so she'll be there. If anyone else on the board would like to join us, in
I'm
case there are any
usually there,
questions,
too.
Chief will be there.
I went to one that was the Whittier discussion, and at 8:45 I said, okay, I'm leaving.
We're hoping it's early on the agenda, so we can, I don't think it's, I think
It's
it's
listed as
gonna be-
early on the agenda.
I
whether-
can't see
whether
that it's
the,
gonna be a big item.
Whether the chair of the select board chooses to move the agenda around, which she does from time to time, it's up to her, but hopefully we'll be there. So if any of the other members of the HR board would like to join us, feel free.
It's at 7?
7 o'clock tomorrow.
Do we vote in Newbury tomorrow?
Yes.
It's
For
the
Whittier?
For
Whittier?
For whatever vote is
Just
up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Just the Whittier project.
It's quite a
Okay.
clever play for Woody to
Let's,
Cut the
we
hour
should
from
probably
Yeah.
close the agenda.
Okay,
Next meeting?
thank you for that. I don't believe there are any other agenda items.
Nope.
Let's schedule the next meeting.
okay.
Please look at your calendars and let me know if Monday, February 26th looks good.
John, does it look good for you?
looks good to me.
It looks good for me.
Good for me.
I've got 2 other meetings on that day in the morning. So that's a full day at Kent Street.
HR board meeting, 4 PM on Monday, February 26th. Everyone please add that to their calendars.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other business to discuss?
None.
None.
Nope.
See none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 We are adjourned.